Aloha everyone, welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started here in just a few minutes, so go ahead and kick back, relax as we wait for others to go ahead and join. Aloha everyone, for those just joining us, we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a couple minutes. But for now, go ahead and kick back, relax. If you guys have any questions about student life, you guys can go ahead and start putting those into that Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. Just a reminder, please put all questions into the Q&A and avoid putting them into the chat. All right, aloha everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this afternoon or evening or morning, depending what time zone you are joining us here from. My name is Amber Owens. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. But here today we are focusing all about the students. Just a few reminders before we go ahead and get started. Is the style of the webinar today is of course webinar, where you all can see us, however, we cannot see you. So definitely please just keep that in mind. If you guys have questions, definitely be sure to go ahead and put those questions into that Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. I see we already have some great questions coming on in. Also, we do have this presentation being recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel later on. At the end, you guys will receive a thank you email with the recording, with a link to the recording. So if you forget about something or want to rewatch it, we will definitely send out that recording later after the webinar concludes. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to our students. We're very excited for them to go ahead and join us today. Take time. Thank you all for taking time out of your studies to come share a little bit more about your student experience. So Michaela, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to you. Tracy, do you want them to do quick intros now or just go ahead and just start off?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and just welcome you folks to the entire group. If you guys can just wave when I mention your names, that way they know who you are. You folks will definitely recognize them in the image here and when we show their actual student experience. But for the sakes of doing this virtually, we'll introduce you to our student panel. My name's Tracy Nagata. I'm the Campus Visit and Welcome Center Coordinator. And I'm really excited for you folks to meet some of our students who are currently learning in this virtual format, currently for this spring semester, gearing up towards mid-May, which is when they finish their courses. So Michaelan is going to be one of our student speakers. Ira is in her senior year, so she is graduating this semester. And then Lealoha, if you can wave as well. She started off with us as a freshman and can't believe she's a sophomore already. And then we also have Leslie, who will share a little bit more about his transfer experience and just being part of the military as well too. So thanks so much for joining us. I'm gonna pass it on to Lei to do her introductions with our first student speaker.
Thank you, Trayson. So aloha, everyone. My name is Lealoha, or I go by Lei for short. As Trayson did mention, I am currently a sophomore here at UH Manoa, and I'm majoring in philosophy and also thinking or in the process of as well as taking up a minor in English and a concentration in law and society. So naturally, when I was a high school senior, you know, everyone as a local student, everyone just wants to leave the island. But honestly, staying home and attending UH Manoa was one of the best ideas I've had. Not only is it just a really great campus, as well as like, you know, my campus experience and the experience as well as getting a campus job as a campus tour guide, everything was just really great. As you can see, I guess like the very first memorable thing I did as a student was getting my student ID. It was a really exciting and fun experience. And, you know, it's kind of like just getting that like, wow, I'm officially a college student. So I remember going on campus for the very first time, like a few weeks before the first instruction day. And yeah, I just also want to emphasize that your student IDs are really important. It helps you get a lot of free resources on campus as well as off campus, not to mention the commuter services. And if you have any questions about commuting or please put them down in the Q&A, because I consider myself as a pro commuter. Yeah, so with staying home, another big part about UH Manoa is because, as I mentioned, I am a philosophy major. So I'm kind of taking that pre-law route. So if you have any questions about that as well, put them down. I also plan on attending the law school here, which is our Richardson. And other than that, if I do change my mind in the future of attending a different law school, getting my undergrad here at home does save a lot of money. And yeah, so I actually did not live on campus my first year, which I do regret because it's really convenient for freshmen. You know, you're surrounded with all the other freshmen, local students, as well as outstate students. And it's just really nice to be able to connect with other people who are transitioning from a high school into college. So I didn't really get to have that experience. So it was hard for me to make friends, I guess you could say, but you know, eventually I did make friends. Most of them are my coworkers, my campus tour guides. So that's nice. I also want to touch up on like the campus experience or like getting a job on campus. It's really convenient and they really do put school above work. So you do get time off on finals week or even the week before finals just to study. And yeah, it's really nice to earn money as well as going to school at the same time. What else is there to say? Yeah, so as a local student, I guess the transition from being on campus my first year, or I was on campus for like a semester and a half, but I did kind of experience a lot of things. I went to class socials, as well as like the Welcome Back Bash, where we had local artists perform, and it was during the nighttime, so it was really nice. And I just hung out with a few friends from my English class, so that was nice, a nice way to like just bond with them. However, with like transitioning to online, I also want to say like it's not as bad as or not as hard as people think it is. Like I balance school online as well as like 2 other jobs. You know, I have my job with the university and another outside job as well. So I think that transitioning online was a lot easier and helpful for me to like balance out my life because you're able to like stay in the comfort of your own home, and it really does save me a lot of commuting time to drive on campus. It saves me like 2-3 hours. So yeah, it's not that bad. But other than that, just a few advice for like incoming students, just to be open-minded and try out new things, as well as don't forget to take a break, take up fun courses like an art class, or I'm currently taking an English class where we literally just read books and watch movies because it's a popular literature class. So it's a nice way to just calm down and, while learning at the same time and really have fun. So that's it for me, and I'll be passing it on to Michaela now. Thank you.
Okay, hapere, aloha mai kako, and hello everybody. My name is Michaela Marie. I am going to be, or kind of am, a senior here at UH Manoa. I'll be graduating next semester. I'm studying Pacific Island Studies and getting a minor in philosophy because I'm also interested in pre-law like Lei. And Lei highlighted some really interesting points. We actually took a class together, which was really fun, which was like a pre-law class. But yeah, I'm going to be talking a little bit about my experience. So I've been at UH Manoa since fall of 2018. So I had about a year and a half about like in person, and I'll tell you, I really tried to make the most of my experience. I got a campus job my second semester of school because I was like, I think I have too much free time. I'm going to the beach a little too much. I'm going to the mall a little too much. Maybe I should be productive and make money. So yeah, I actually was okay with college because I'm originally from Guam, and then I moved to Japan, England, Alaska, and California. And that's all because my dad's in the military. So if any of you have that experience being a military child and moving around and that transition of going to college and being on the GI Bill, I can talk a little bit about that. So if you guys have questions. I also did live in student housing. You can see in that bottom picture, that was my freshman year dorm room. It was very nice. I miss it kind of. It was Hale Aloha Ilima. It was really nice to be on campus, and I lived my first and second year both on campus. So I had a little bit of that COVID experience in student housing too. So if you guys have any questions about what it's like to live in student housing during the time of COVID, you can ask me as well. And also, I'm just going to address some of the pictures that I have on my cool slide. So starting with the bottom left corner, our university actually offers a lot of different events that students can go to. Like I said, I try to maximize my student experience. So I went to like most of the events that I could. This event was called November. And it's basically we got to make our own little Build-A-Bears. And like you could buy like extra accessories or anything, but it was free for students to make your first bear. And so I went with my friends. I still have my little teddy bear over in the corner of my room. I was going to grab it, but I was like, maybe it's a little too much. But yeah, we had a whole bunch of events like that. We also had a lot of music events like Lei was talking about. Those were probably one of my favorites. Also free for students. There was one where I think it was like, we had a Polyfest where we had different Polynesian clubs on campus come and perform for students for free. And it was super fun to interact with them. And for many people that move to Hawaii, that's like their first experience with the Polynesian culture. So I highly suggest you guys like take a class, take a language, things like that. Yeah, and then moving up to the top left corner, that is a party that I went to from one of the clubs that I'm in, which is called Micronesian Connections, which is basically a bunch of Pacific Islanders. We all like talk about our culture and go help out in the community. And so I don't know if you can see me, it's kind of dark, but I was drinking sakau, which is similar to kava. But sakau is from Pohnpei. And some of you guys might have the chance to drink kava. It's a very interesting drink. It kind of like numbs your tongue. So it was kind of used as like a way of calming people down and like chiefs when they're talking and like trying to do peace trees and things like that. And then moving a little bit over, you can see my beautiful office of admissions. Like I said, I've been working in this office for so long. I absolutely love it. I've given so many tours to students, and it's really sad that we haven't really been able to, but we've been doing virtual tours. So make sure you keep an eye out for those emails. Ira, me, Iran and me have given those tours, and Leigh has also been commenting on it, so it's been really fun to do. And I've also been able to participate on panels where I get to meet like actual scholars. If you guys come here, you might learn about Kathleen Jetnal Kilgner. I'm sorry, it's really hard to pronounce her last name, but she's a Marshallese poet. I absolutely adore her, and I got to meet her at that conference in the picture over. And then one of my favorite things that I've got to do is I did a basically service learning, which was required for one of my classes, but I got to work at a legal clinic for a weekend where I helped people fill out forms for naturalization, which basically means I got to help people like apply for citizenship to America. And that's probably one of the most like life-changing things that I've done. And I absolutely love it. And I'm so glad that UH Manoa gave me that opportunity. So yeah, I'm very passionate about the school. I really love it. And I suggest if you guys do come here, we are opening up next semester to like a hybrid sort of format. I do have like a hybrid class this semester and an in-person class this semester, but we will still like make sure you pay attention to your emails and please adhere to CDC's guidelines as there is a pandemic. And so we just want to keep everybody safe. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions about my experiences, feel free to ask. It's been very fun and I'm so excited to be a student here at UH Manoa. And so yeah, I'm gonna pass the baton over to Ira.
Thank you, Michaelin. Aloha, everyone. My name is Ira. Okay, just a fair warning. I am sitting on the floor right now. We're currently moving into our new place. So if you guys hear construction, I'm gonna just mute myself and we'll just wait for it to go away. Okay, but other than that, again, my name is Ira. Thank you guys so much for coming to the Warrior webinar. We're so excited to have you guys here. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised here on Oahu. Been here my whole life, so I decided why not come here for college. I'm just kidding. No, the main reason why I stayed here for college was one, everyone knows that college is expensive, so staying at Manoa was the best way for my family to save money, and plus my mom really wanted me to have an education, which was really important to us. And plus, again, my family was here, all my friends were here, so it was a really smooth transition for me from high school into college. But I wouldn't necessarily say that my experience from high school to college was the same. It was definitely different. I still did get a really different college experience because a lot of the UH Manoa students they come from all over the world. So I met students who come from like different countries like Japan. I have a friend from Australia. So it was pretty cool to get to meet all of these new students in these big lecture halls pre-COVID. Oh, my major, hello, sorry. I am a nursing major, so if any of you guys have any questions about nursing, go ahead and put that in the Q&A. I am graduating this semester, like Tracy said. I'm so excited, but I'm really sad to leave UH Manoa because you guys are my family. But plans for after graduation, I am applying to hospitals in Washington. Oh, sorry, that's the construction I was telling you guys about. Okay. Are we done? Okay, so I am applying to hospitals in Washington and a couple other states that I'm still hearing back from for interviews. But other than that, that's my plans for after graduation. About my slide right over here. So on this side, the left side of the screen, so I do like to go surfing. If you guys come to Hawaii, definitely try out surfing. It's been a really fun thing that I've taken because of the pandemic. So I tried to learn how to surf. Shave ice, we do have a lot of shave ice spots. If you guys look at the bottom left corner, that's a picture of me and my friends at one of our local shave ice spots near UH Manoa. The next picture, there are a lot of fun activities that you can do on the weekends. So yes, you can go to the beach. We have bowling alleys, all of that fun stuff. Like I said, I am a nursing major. So at UH Manoa, our nursing department is at a building called Webster Hall. We have a really unique floor called the THSSC, which stands for the Translational Health Sciences Simulation Center. It's a floor that's supposed to replicate or look like a hospital. In that floor, we have mannequins who act as they are our patients. So those mannequins are able to actually breathe. They have bowel sounds, so we can listen to their tummy. They can talk to us. They can cry, and we try to insert IVs in them, and then if it's in the wrong place, then they can say, ow. So it's really fun. My favorite mannequin is the pregnant one. She can give birth to like a mannequin baby. It's so cool because the baby comes out slimy and all of that fun stuff, but it's okay because we're wearing gloves. And yeah, it's just so fun. I really love my major. So again, if you guys have any questions about that, I do work at the Office of Admissions, just like Leigh and McKaylin. Working on campus is probably one of the best decisions I've ever made, because before working at the Office of Admissions, I worked at the mall and I would do the closing shifts. So I would end work at 11 o'clock at night, and then I'd have an 8 a.m. class the next morning. So it was super hard. So what was really nice about working on campus is, yes, they do put education above work. They always make sure that the students are accommodated. And most of the shifts on campus do end at 4 o'clock. So that's really nice too. And there are a bunch of opportunities on campus to work. So one being, there's a campus tour guide, you can be a research assistant, and just all of those really good opportunities. You can find open positions on SECE, so it's SECE.its.hawaii.edu, and then you should be able to find a job on campus. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Leslie. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Ira, and thank you so much for everyone being here today. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Leslie. I'm a senior here at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. I'm an Academy for Creative Digital Cinema major. So just a little thing about myself is I'm a transfer student. I actually came from San Diego, California, where I was stationed for 8 years. I did community college and I got my associates before I was able to transfer to Manoa. I went from active duty to the reserve. So you can see at the top left picture, I'm still in the reserve, and there's so much history here at Hawaii in the military and outside of the military. As a creative media major doing digital cinema, a lot of people say, oh, coming to Moa, like, what's the possibility of being a filmmaker? But actually, being a filmmaker here in Hawaii, there's so many different possibilities, so many opportunities and possibilities. There's such a large network of people doing film as well, and it's so easy to get a job here as well after college. Bottom two pictures, some of the production pictures we had. One was pre-COVID and one was during COVID actually, and we were able to safely look over the guidelines and social distance while making our projects as safe as possible. And we were able to make a film during COVID. So, if you're worried about coming to class, it's absolutely doable. We're going to go into a hybrid sort of thing where we can both do online and in person, and we still have that connection with our students. Yeah, life here on campus has been great. I was given a chance to choose between Hawaii, UH Manoa, or brain freeze right there, or a school in California. And I was really thinking about, the curriculum and what was available. And when I looked at the curriculum between the film schools in California and UH Manoa actually offered a lot of course, but as well as the courses that mattered the most, which is to tell stories with indigenous backgrounds and stories that you would probably not be able to tell if you were anywhere else. And in California, it was just strictly business focused. And that wasn't something that I was interested in. So Manoa definitely had the opportunity and gave me the opportunity to tell stories that really mattered to me. Being here on the island for 2 years now, I was able to have the opportunity to do photo shoots for people, which is one of the pictures up here. I was doing a photo shoot for a couple who was announcing they're having a baby. You can go kayaking. This is me and my boyfriend, we like to just really explore the island. There's so much to offer. There's so much to do. You just really don't get tired of it. And then you just really find your ground, find your peace, and then you find the places that you like to enjoy often. And it's a really great experience to be able to go to such a great school and have a great place to do active activities and be, making films at the same time. So if you guys have any questions about being a transfer, or just any military background or anything about filmmaking, just ask me. That's it. So I'm gonna pass it over to Amber, and we're gonna start the Q&A.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Leslie. And thank you to all of the students for giving us a little bit of brief intro about yourselves. So kind of just kicking it off, we'll start off with some fun questions. So we'll go ahead and go round robin again. We'll go ahead and go in the same order that you guys presented in. If you guys can just talk about what are some things that you do in your free time and what does life on weekends look like for you? In a pre-COVID world and in a COVID world, depending on what you want to talk about.
Sorry, for a moment, I forgot I was first. So pre-COVID world, my weekends or what I like to do during my free time, I usually like to just go to the mall. I'm not really a nature person. I like to stay indoors, but shopping is definitely one of the reasons why I'd like to go out. As well as like, if I am with friends, we occasionally do like beach socials or just going around the islands and eat because, what is Hawaii without food? Our food here is great. But COVID wise, I now spend my times doing homework. Of course, I try to avoid going out as much as possible, especially with like families who have members who are immunocompromised. It's really important, to just stay home. I also just go to work as well, or with work, now that I can work virtually, I also attend a lot of these type of events. So it's really fun. And even though you're staying at home, you still have a lot to do.
Yeah, for me, so for weekends, I did a lot of varieties of things. So it really depend on like the friend group I was hanging out with. So we'd go on like various hikes or go to the beach. I also play a lot of like video games and board games. And so like during COVID times, I've gotten really into Apex. It's a rough game, hard learning curve. But yeah, pre-COVID, I absolutely loved also going to music events, like live music events. I'm very passionate about like going to see music artists, like small and big. And it was probably one of my favorite things to do. And also sometimes I would indulge in shopping as well. Like all of Moana can be a little addicting. But yeah, Ira, what about you?
Okay, so some things I like to do in my free time, pre-COVID and COVID time, I feel like it's kind of the same. So Netflix, yes, that's a staple. I like to do Netflix. I love going to the beach. I love going hiking. So when we transitioned to COVID time, I was so happy that we were allowed to go to the beach and do hikes just as long as you were socially distanced and you went with at least, I think you could only go with one other person. So just me and my best friend would go whenever we could just to de-stress from like all of the really hard transitions. And then life on the weekends kind of depends on what your schedule looks like. So if you're a student and you're really backed up behind on your assignments, you're probably going to spend your weekends studying or catching up on your assignments. But if you're all caught up, then yeah, definitely you'll find a lot of people at the beach, hikes. I keep repeating myself. What Lay said, going out to eat. We have a lot of really cool local mom and pop restaurants that you guys are able to try. Oh my gosh, my uncle is cutting wood. Okay, but other than that, Leslie, what do you like to do on the weekends or in your free time?
Thank you so much, Ira. Going back to what you say, I usually like to keep my weekends available so I don't do any homework on the weekends or studying on the weekends. Like I treat like my classes Monday through Friday, get all my work done in between classes, after classes, but on the weekends, I'm not doing any type of work. And I guess that just really comes from like being in the military for so long where we have to work 7 days a week or just really like not having that free time. But long story short, on the weekends, I really like to go hiking as well. Um, on a day that I want to be active, I try to find different hikes that I've never done before. Sometimes you can go to the hikes where you're going in like, the forest where there's like mud and mosquitoes. And there's some hikes where it's just like a paved road where it's just really easy. There's no bugs, no mud, not dirty at all. Or a lazy day or just go to the beach. You really just find which beach you really enjoy the most being at, and then you just kind of hang around and just relax. Also trying new food. There's a lot to eat on the island. So, on the weekend, I try to have different food because then during the Monday to Friday, I'm trying to be on a more stricter fitness level kind of thing. So, that's what I really like to do on the weekends, just chill and relax.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for explaining a little bit more about what you do for fun. Here's another fun question. I know, of course, during COVID, travel has naturally been a bit more restricted, especially with the state guidelines. But for those who have in previous times, did you enjoy traveling to other islands, and what do you recommend to incoming students when it comes to inter-island travel? Whoever wants to, you just raise your hand and go for it. Like, don't all raise your hands at once. Go for it, Ira.
Okay, so I've only ever traveled once to an outer island. So my admissions coworker, so Michaelan actually came with me on this trip. We went to Kauai, super fun. We only went for 3 days, but it was really fun because our one of the counselors at work lived there, Jose. He lived there for a little bit, so he showed us around Kauai. We got to go on different hikes, and we tried a lot of really good food. It was basically getting up really early in the morning to getting back to the Airbnb really late at night because we were out doing like a bunch of adventuring the whole day. So definitely going to or traveling to a neighbor island with your friends is something I highly recommend because it's literally only a half an hour flight, half an hour, 45-minute flight. And you don't even need a lot of time to be at a neighbor island to explore a lot of what's going on there. So definitely highly recommend. Michaelan can give her side of it. Just a lot of, long story short, really cool pictures because we had a GoPro.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that same experience with Ira. We went to Kauai, and I saw like the most beautiful views that I've ever seen. Like the Waimea Canyon area is like, it feels like you're in a whole other world. Like honestly, I highly recommend if you go to any island to definitely check out Kauai. And yeah, Jose really put us through the ringer with some of those hikes, but it was definitely worth it for those pictures, and it was really fun.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Now, kind of talking about, I know you guys both mentioned kind of friendships and such. What would you guys say are good ways to make friends in a pre-COVID world and now in a COVID world? Did you find it easy to make friends? Did you make them in class or on campus? What's your advice to students on how to make friends? We can go ahead and go in round robin again if you guys want.
Okay, so coming from a student who did not dorm, where dorming I heard is the easiest way to make friends. I made my friends through classes. Like you can literally, everyone is there, or like for the freshman year, everyone's there for your first time. So I found it easier to just go up to them because everyone is like, they're nervous and their nerves are just up there. So once you talk to someone at least once, it's going to be easier the next class. I also made friends with my campus job. It was really easy. Everyone is so friendly. They all just came up to me and introduced themselves, and we just really hit it off. So I suggest getting an on-campus job if you're looking for that as well. And yeah. So that's my perspective. Michaelan, how did you make friends?
Yeah, so definitely that first thing Lay mentioned, I did, and also like getting a campus job. Oh my gosh, words are sometimes hard. But yeah, my very first class and my very first like week of school, I walked up to this random person. I said, "Hello, is this the right class?" And then I met one of my best friends through them, and I met my boyfriend through them too. So like really just going up to people and just introducing yourself is really the best thing. And also how I mentioned I like to go to a lot of different events. You got to meet like a bunch of people very fast, like just by going to different events. Most students are probably as nervous as you, especially in your freshman year, or like meeting transfer students too by going through events. Events are super fun and they're free for students because you pay for them with your student fees. So I highly suggest going to them. You also get a lot of free stuff. Yeah.
Sorry, I was waiting for the construction to end, but okay. Is my audio okay? Can you guys hear me? Okay, great. So how did I make friends on campus? Well, like I said, I had a couple friends who I graduated high school with. We all went to UH Manoa together, so that helped. But then again, we all had like different majors, so it was kind of hard for us to see each other. But yeah, I would say that a lot of my friends came from my lecture classes. So pre-COVID, I attended really big classes. Sorry, I attended really big classes that had like 200 students. So I met a lot of students through there. But not only did I attend lecture classes, I also had smaller classes. So lab classrooms have around 20 to 25 students. So it's definitely a lot more intimate, a lot easier to like talk to students because you have to sit at a table with them. So I made friends through there. We do have over 200 clubs on campus. So joining clubs is a really good way for you to make friends as well, because sometimes they meet every week. They do service projects. So I was part of a club on campus as well, and I got to serve as an officer. So definitely you learn a lot of social communication skills, team building skills, leadership skills, basically the necessary skills that you need when you guys work after graduation. And then last but not least, like I said earlier in my slide, the best decision I ever made was finding a job on campus, because a lot of my close friends came through working at admissions. Really big fun family there, and it doesn't even feel like work when I work with them. So definitely, like what Leigh said earlier, be open-minded, be open to any opportunity that comes your way, and just sign up for a bunch of stuff. You never know what's going to happen. And now Leslie can talk about how he made his friends.
So I feel like making friends is really easy, especially as a filmmaker. You know, just being in a creative media major. Collaboration is a really big thing. You know, we have animation majors, we have music majors, we have art majors, we have theater majors. You know, and as filmmakers, we really utilize all these different majors, and we really collaborate in doing so. So that's one way I make friends. And the thing that I forgot to mention was I also got a job on campus as a ITV. What we do is distance learning. So like we were able to connect classes from like Maui, Kauai, and UH Manoa all at once together teaching a course. So if it's not available on the island, there is distance learning where where students can come to campus, sit in a room where there's cameras and microphones, and then really engage in that same type of learning with the teachers that are maybe on a different island. So those are my ways of making friends, but you know, just really engaging, sharing, and you know, sharing your passion and just being open to like your other classmates, and you know, talking a story and sharing your experience can really open up everybody and really create a friendship like that.
Great, thank you all so much for explaining a little bit more about that. I know students, especially in this time, are really nervous with the COVID world and making friends, especially those who are coming from a little bit farther away. Speaking of which, Michaela, I'm going to go ahead and direct this to both you and Leslie, since you guys are both originally from out of state / out of country / a little bit of everywhere. What would you guys recommend for those students who are coming from out of state or out of country? Do you have any tips of advice for them in addition to what you guys already talked about?
Well, if you're going to student housing, I'd first suggest don't buy everything and bring it over. It's much easier to buy things while you're on island. It's a lot easier, like suitcase wise and everything. But I know there's a question about homesickness as well. I might be because I'm a military kid, but I didn't really experience that. But I also, like I said, try to maximize my experience. I know a lot of students who did like feel homesick were the ones that like tended to stay in their room and not really put themselves out there as much as like other students. So one of the things I did in my freshman student housing was I just left my door open. And so random people would just say hi to me, or I just talk to them and ask them about their day. And you can really build a community. I think that's probably one of the best things to do coming from out of state, is to try and make a solid friend group. And so you guys can go embark on adventures together, and also make friends that are from island, because they have cars and it's a lot easier to go to places that you want to go to. Because you can take the bus anywhere on island, which is our public transportation, and you have honor student ID, you get a pass for it. But like getting to places like North Shore may take like 2 hours via the bus, 2 to 3 hours. So making friends from Island makes it a lot easier as well. Yeah. What do you have to say, Leslie?
Yeah, for me, I before I moved here and started school, like when I knew I was accepted and started to make the transition, I kind of already started looking for an apartment, and it's actually a lot easier than people might think. You know, you're stressing out like you might not find somewhere, but you know you're definitely going to find somewhere to live. And I was able to find an apartment that is 20 minutes walk from campus. So even though I transferred my car here from California, which can cost a lot, you know, just to have it transfer over, but sometimes it could be worth it. But when I got my car, I found that I didn't really need to use it as much, you know, especially going to class. So I will walk 20 minutes to school. You know, after class, I walk 20 minutes back home, and I found that, you know, like you really get to capture the moment and just like look around you and experience the island, experience your surrounding differently had you drove and then just not really paying attention as you just straightly go to school. So I found that to be a thing. It's really easy to walk around here. Everything you need is really like walking distance in a culture that maybe in a city life is harder. But yeah, I really enjoyed that, being able to just walk to school, walk home, having everything I need around the campus. Yeah.
Great. And then I was going to say that leads into our next topic, which is perfect, is forms of transportation. I know Michaela and Leslie, you guys kind of touched base on that. So just out of curiosity, if I can have you guys raise your hands, if you guys have taken our campus shuttle before called the Rainbow Bus or the Rainbow Shuttle. I remember Leslie, no worries. And go ahead and raise your hand if you guys have taken the city bus called the Bus. Yay, okay. I was like, I feel like all of us have. And then raise your hand if if you've taken Bicky bike or done some kind of transportation, bike, skateboard, rollerblading. I was like, yeah. So there's definitely a lot of different ways of transportation to get around. You really don't have to stress about it too much. If we can go ahead and do round robin and have each one of you guys just quickly say what your preferred method of transportation is and if you have any advice on that.
For sure. So I did mention I'm kind of like a pro commuter. I basically took the Rainbow Shuttle. It takes you anywhere on campus, even a few neighborhoods a mile off of campus, as well as the city bus. You know, I also want to point out that there are apps that with the Rainbow Shuttle as well as the city bus, and the apps include real-time GPS for each shuttle and which stops they go to. So it's really important to have those apps to make sure that you don't get on the wrong bus and to make sure you're always on time. But yeah, like Michaela did mention a while ago, to make a friend who is a local student, because they will definitely drive you around. For example, I'm that local student, I'm that local friend. So yeah, but if you don't have like a local friend who can drive you around, the Rainbow Shuttle and the city bus, they're definitely going to be your best friends. They can take you anywhere, and it's really comfortable. You know, they're air conditioned, so you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, definitely. My preferred method of transportation on campus is probably walking, but getting to campus, it's either like the city bus or via a local friend, because it just makes life a whole lot easier. And the bus, you know, it is like free for students because it comes with your tuition. But I also have like done some few like just for fun to like Bicky bike down in Waikiki or near the beach, just like biking along the beach. And it's been really, really fun. It's like Leslie said, it's those little moments that you get to experience while being outdoors. And plus the weather is usually pretty nice around here. So yeah, definitely enjoying the outdoors and doing pretty much any mode of transportation. But yeah, the Rainbow Shuttle is also really nice because it has AC. So if you're really hot, you can just take the Rainbow Shuttle to your next class. Yeah.
For me, my preferred mode of transportation to get around the island is my car. But don't blame me, because throughout high school, I would catch bus every single day. So I'm not high maintenance. It's just I don't like catching the bus because I don't like standing up for 20 minutes. So That's that. But the bus is really not all that bad. I just don't like the bus. So yes, I do like to drive myself around. Yeah, what Lay and Michaela said, we do have a rainbow shuttle on campus, and it takes students to surrounding neighborhoods that are around Manoa as well. So if students live off campus, sometimes the rainbow shuttle stops right in front of their house or near their house to the point where they can walk only like 2 to 3 minutes. I don't live near UH Manoa. I actually live 15 to 20 minutes away. So the only times where I would use the rainbow shuttle is to actually get to clinical. So we do have hospitals that are near UH Manoa as well, and that's where I would do my nursing clinicals. And I would take the rainbow shuttle near this hospital called Kapiolani Center for Women and Children, and it would stop right in front of Punahou School. So I would walk around 5 minutes to the hospital, and that was really helpful for me because there was no parking for nursing students. Yeah.
As for me, I also drive on the weekends, but like I said, during the week, you know, like instead of having to drive to school, I just walk to school, 20 minutes walk, you get to enjoy the view. And then on the weekends, I also drive, but just having, you know, a bus pass and being able to utilize that, you can get around the island as much as you want to on the weekends, even during the week. Just, I think mode of transportation, just being on the island is not a struggle and it's not a hard thing to get by. So you have so many different options to get to school, get to where you want to go to, you know, just hang out, enjoy it, and then get home. It's really not a big deal and a big struggle. And I think it's made easy actually. Yeah.
Great. Thank you all so much for explaining more about that. Just to give some more inside knowledge, just because I know I was another person that shipped my car. Just to keep in mind, students, especially if you're coming from the mainland, Hawaii does have very expensive car registration fees. They actually do their car registration based per pound of your car, so it can range anywhere from about $300 to $500 per year. So if you're thinking, oh, you know, $1,500, $2,000 to ship my car isn't too bad, it does add up. It also is really difficult to get parking, especially for those who are incoming freshmen. I was going to say, Ira, do you mind actually talking a little bit about your experience with getting a parking pass? And then Leslie, if you did get a parking pass, do you mind mentioning that too? Because I know you came in as a transfer.
Yeah, so pre-COVID, in my freshman and sophomore year, I wasn't able to get a parking pass because the way that parking passes are distributed is by seniority. So students who have the most credits, which are obviously the seniors, they get first dibs on parking passes, and then it moves to seniors, juniors, and then so on and so forth. And usually by the junior class is when all of the parking passes would sell out. So what I would do is either find street parking, or I would try to carpool with my friend who had a parking pass. So that definitely helped. But by the time I was a junior, I was able to get a parking pass, and that saved my life. But other than that, we do have other types of parking passes. So like I said, there's a carpool pass, and those ones usually never sell out. But for the carpool passes, you do need another passenger with you in order to use the carpool pass. A lot of students actually opt for using mopeds. So moped passes never run out. Mopeds are very cheap on gas. I don't know how to ride a moped, but I have a bunch of friends who do, and they absolutely love it. I don't know how to ride a bike, or sorry, no, I know how to ride a bike. I just don't want to ride a moped. Because I'm scared I'm gonna fall. But yeah, mopeds are definitely a good option for students as well, because parking passes never run out for those.
So for me, actually moving here 2 years ago, I've never actually gotten a parking pass at all. Like I've never had to go through it, but like Ira said, is based on seniority, and you really get when you're applying for classes, you know, you have all these options of getting a parking pass. But for me, I just never really got one, and I just took that walking to school really like seriously. You know, it was so convenient for me to walk to school. I didn't have to find parking. I didn't have to pay for a pass for one. And you know, I didn't have to be there early for in case if there wasn't any parking available. But other things I can share based on, transferring your car here and having a car. If you are in the reserves or in any military affiliation, there's actually a paper or waiver that you can sign to have your registration deducted to a lower price, not the full price, but like there's a set price for reservists and active duty members. And yeah.
That's perfect. Thanks for touching on that. Yeah, it's definitely much cheaper that way if you are military, of course. So that's fantastic. Now, kind of switching gears into a little bit more about class sizes. I know the past year has been a little bit more unique because of COVID, naturally. But if we can round robin and you guys can talk about the largest class size you've had, smallest class size, and average class size on estimate. I know it's hard to remember off the top of your head, or just about what you remember in your class sizes. In general is fine too.
Yeah, so regarding class sizes, I've heard a lot of like my classmates or sorry, my friends and other classmates talk about how they have huge lecture halls that have over 200 students. Unfortunately or fortunately, I did not get to experience having a huge lecture hall like that. So probably the biggest class size I've had was around like 50 students or so. And then the smallest class size I've had was around 10 students. And I thought, so far, it's really convenient because, you know, I feel closer to like my professors as well as like my TAs, and it's easier for me to go up to them. But if you are in a large lecture hall like that, I'm pretty sure your professors will have office hours, so don't be afraid to attend to go attend those if you have any questions. So, yep. How are your class sizes, Michaelin?
I think probably the largest lecture size I've had is maybe like 100 people, and that was either for like Math 100, or introductory math, or for Botany 101. And so those Gen Ed classes are usually going to be your like largest classes that you'll have. And probably the smallest class size I had, I think, was maybe 7 students, and I think that was for Tahitian language. There's a lot of cool different like indigenous language you can take here at UH Manoa. I'm taking Chamorro because I'm an indigenous Chamorro. But yeah, average class size is probably around maybe, for me, I think 10, 15, 20, 25, around that region. Usually as you get higher up in your education, those higher credit classes, you'll have less people in there so that you can like have more conversational things. I'm not sure exactly if that changes for STEM with Ira, but she can definitely touch upon that now.
Thank you, Michaelin. Okay, so basically what Lei and Michaelin said is very true. So when you start off as a freshman, you are going to be taking a lot of those general ed courses. So that's what I took. A lot of my prerequisite courses to get into the nursing program were lecture classes. So for example, chemistry, human anatomy, and physiology. I like to think of those lecture classes as umbrella classes. So once you cover all of the broad information that you need for your major, and then as you progress into your major, like so sophomore and above, that's when your class sizes are going to get smaller. So definitely when I started nursing school, my class sizes went from 200 and now there's only like 40 or 30 of us now, and I'm not even, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay, and then it breaks down even more to labs. So for clinical groups, there'd only be 8 to 10 of us. So the more you dive into your major, the more specific you get, and the more you have to talk and discuss about the different content that's going on in class. But other than that, that is pretty much all I have to say about lectures and labs. Leslie, do you want to add anything to class sizes?
Yeah, actually, I've experienced both. For the more general ed classes, I've had like 50 to 60 students. But for the creative media major classes, we generally only have about 20 to 25 students per class, because a lot of them are both lecture and production classes. We require, like hands-on work and, just being able to cater to each student and their creative process and the creative needs. So a lot of the classes, we only have about 20 to 25 students. And mostly, if you find yourself coming into the major at the same time, you'll move along with the same people that takes the classes, and you guys progress in the major, and it's almost like a cohort, except there's no like specific classes that you have to take, but that will benefit basically whether you want to be a cinematographer or a writer or you want to be a producer. There's classes for all of that, and then you really just kind of find your gauge of where you want to go in the filmmaking industry and what you really like to do. There's editing classes, sound classes. There's a lot of opportunities basically, and it's really like a place for you to find what is your niche in filmmaking and where you really want or where you're really interested in.
It's wonderful. Thank you all. So we have just a few minutes left. So I'm going to ask, I want to touch bases, of course, on student housing. I know you guys have talked about it a little bit on campus and off campus. Caitlin, I'm going to go ahead and refer to you for this one. As which residence halls did you live in? And then also what meal plan did you select, or what do you see is pretty common among students who live on campus?
Yeah, so for my first year, I lived in Hawai'i Aloha Idima in the Freshman Aloha Towers. I think it was the best tower, but if you ask anybody else, they'll argue differently because we're very protective over our tower. And then for my second year, I lived in Freer Hall. That's our only student housing for undergraduates that has AC. It is the most expensive option, but I had the GI Bill, so it was nice while I had it. And for meal plan, I used the 10 meals per week for each semester, and I will tell you, I never went hungry. Um, you know, with having 10 meals per week, the way that works is like a meal swipe will equal one entrance into the all you can eat or all you care to eat buffets that we have down at lower campus at student housing, or they do a $5.50 monetary value, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then you can use that at one of our campus eateries, or even we have this place called the Market, which is kind of like a mini convenience store. So your meals will expire Saturday nights, and so you can go to the Market and spend all of your extra cash, like getting chips, or like sometimes they have like chicken nuggets that you can buy, or like little corn dogs and things. It's very much like a nice convenience store. They also have like a for real machine, so if you like milkshakes, you can spend your money on that. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks. And Leslie, real quick for you, did you find it easy to find off-campus housing? And do you have any advice for those students who are transferring if they should live on campus versus off campus?
It's really, for the transferring students, is really just based on your preference. For me, I really looked into housing just because in active duty, I was in barracks a lot, and I was like, okay, I'm done with the barrack life. I just want my own apartment, my own space. But other than that, I mean, if I never had the barrack experience, I would probably get a dorm because I would love that, having that, cohesiveness of other students and just sharing that experience with them. But because I've already had that, I was able to find an apartment. And you just look around. You have so many different resources and places where you can look for available apartments, and just look for some in the Manoa area. I think would be my advice, because it made coming to school and just walking around so convenient, and I was just able to not need my car unless I was going somewhere on the other side of the island on a weekend. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much. All right. So one last question for all of you. We'll go ahead and round robin this one again. Just kind of closing remarks, if just kind of sharing what your favorite thing about Manoa is, or if there's one little quirky thing that really stands out to you about Manoa, just what's something that or a piece of advice that you wish that incoming students would know. Just whatever closing remarks you want to make about the campus and helping students decide. Yay. Aloha.
Okay, thank you. So just a really quick word of advice that I wish I knew is, I believe Michaela mentioned it before, or Ira, just sign up for a lot of things, get really involved on campus. I really regret not joining a lot of clubs, because there are so many clubs on campus, and they really range from academic to cultural to just fun, quirky ones. So yeah, just really sign up on a lot of clubs, or attend as many events as you can.
Yeah, definitely echoing what Lay said. I definitely had most of my fun experiences the first 2 years because I tried to do as many events as I could. But maybe a word of advice is, I guess, like, on the easier side, make sure you have an umbrella or like a pocket poncho because it does rain a lot in Manoa. So sometimes you'll just be in class and then you walk out and it's absolutely drenched, like pouring. And I've gotten very drenched while I was walking like back to my student housing. But yeah, I absolutely love UH Manoa. You guys got to see how passionate I am about this school. Fun fact, my brothers actually came here with me as well because I influenced him to come to this school. Yeah, go Bows. Go ahead, Ira.
Yeah, okay. So basically, what makes Manoa home is the people. So throughout this webinar, we kept talking about how we made a lot of our friendships through a lot of the student involvement that we did on campus. So you really will find a group of people that you'll call family when you come here to Manoa. And no matter what, even if there's a group of people, everyone on campus is so friendly. So definitely don't be shy. Go ahead and join as many things as you guys can. My second and last piece of advice that I should have said earlier is don't be afraid to ask for help in classes, everyone. We have so many tutoring resources on campus. Short story, I am like I said, I'm a nursing major, so I had to take chemistry. Never took chemistry in college. The last time I took chemistry was in high school, and that was like my sophomore year. And all of a sudden, they added chemistry as a prerequisite for nursing. So I had to take it like cold turkey in my junior year. And I was like, oh my gosh. So my first exam, I got a C. And when you're Filipino, a C is failing. Yeah. So my mom was like, Ira, you know what to do. And I'm like, I know, Mom. So I went to the tutoring center, and they were really nice because the tutors were students, so they know how it feels to be in class and not know what's going on. So definitely that helped a lot, meeting up with my professors. So there are so many resources on campus. All you have to do is just find it, get it done. And then I eventually ended up with an A in chemistry. And now I'm graduating, but okay. Leslie, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, first, before I give my personal experience and preference, for those asking about ACM, our website, acm.hawaii.edu, to find out for more information, the classes we offer, what you need to know, and how you can apply when you're looking for being a creative media major. Other than that, you know, like going back to my experience between having to choose Manoa or USC Northridge, I really struggled at first, but looking at the curriculum, I was like, you know, Manoa is a once in a lifetime experience. It's the culture, it's the people, it's an experience that you can never have anywhere else. Being on the island, you get to learn so much about the Hawaiian culture. You get to learn so much about yourself. You get to learn so much about so many different cultures in one place that had I stayed in California, I would probably never get that. So, you know, I think coming to Manoa really helped me find myself as a person and helped me engage in my story and everyone else's story and the things that they want to share and they need to share, versus if I was to go to LA and it was just all business and, you know, just yeah. So when I started choosing between which college I wanted to go, Manoa was definitely the one that I felt like was the best for me, especially in the experience that I can get and the things that I will learn here that I can't learn anywhere else.
Wonderful. So I just want to go ahead and say thank you all so much to our student speakers, as well as Trayson, for joining us here today to talk more about the student experience. It was so great being able to hear from all of you. I know I learned a lot about you guys too, so definitely attendees, if you guys have any follow-up questions, definitely be sure to email us, or you can also attend any of our upcoming events. You will see that QR code here on the screen. Also, I'll go ahead and put that link into the chat as well. We do have another Warrior webinar coming up next week, as well as other events, so just be sure to check that out. And then, of course, we want to say mahalo and thank you so much for joining us here today. Definitely be sure to contact us with any future questions. And yeah, we hope you guys have such a wonderful day. Hopefully, we'll see you guys in the fall. Aloha.